genius. 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. Be yourself. Everyone else is already taken. This is episode 45 of Stuck on Sawdust. I'm Daniel, and you're watching Bearded Viking Woodworks. Oh, you. Hey, welcome to the shop. Today, we're going to switch it up just a little bit and build something that I haven't built on this channel yet. These projects don't require $150,000 worth of the highest tech tools. These projects are friendly to every skill level woodworker and can easily be built while following along with the video and watching. Before I show you the projects that we're going to be making today, be sure to take time and hit that like button. It really helps fight this algorithm. So let's jump right in. Meet me at the table saw. I have a confession to make. I have a ton of work boots, casual boots, tennis shoes, and my wife has quadruple the amount that I do. So, instead of fighting over that closet space, I came up with a solution for both of us. Just because we have a small closet with limited storage doesn't mean we can't work it out. Our first project for this video is going to be a shoe rack that mounts to the wall. Not your typical shoe rack. This is a shoe rack you most likely haven't seen yet. So let's build. I need 2 pieces ripped to 5.5, and my stock is 5 foot long and 1.5 inches in thickness. Once we get those 2 ripped, we'll then take and rip 2 more of them at 1.5 inches. Now, meet me at the miter box. We're going to take one of the 5.5 inch rips and cut 2 of them 16 inches long to square of a 45-degree miter. So the conundrum with cutting a 45-degree miter on the same exact width piece that this piece is, it leaves us with that overhang. So to get rid of that, we could do one of 2 things. Either rip this thinner, or what I'm going to be doing is making it flush to the bottom here with the short point and just scribing a mark right there where it meets the top. And we'll just cut this mark square over at the miter box. To be sure we're cutting square, we'll just take our speed square, line it up with our mark, and square over off of our 45-degree miter. Something like that with our pencil mark. We'll take and put our miter box on a 45-degree miter going the opposite direction and cut that mark. And that's what you should be left with. We'll simply just take the first piece we cut, put it on top of the piece here, line up the blade with the top, and make this cut. Now from the right and the left side, we're going to pull over 3 inches. We'll square that mark and square this mark, and our pieces will sit on the insides of those marks. So we'll go ahead and get our marks transferred to the back, and we're going to pre-drill 2 holes for each piece. I'm just going to hit it with an 1/8 inch drill bit and then make a little shallow hole at 1/4 inch for the screw head to sit flush. Now, before we do anything else, we're going to go ahead and get everything sanded down to 150 grit. And then I'm going to take our piece over to the router table and route out 2 key slots in the back of this. But they will be on a special layout, and I'll show you that momentarily. Now, as far as the layout for my key slots go, a typical home is built on a 16 on center layout for the studs in the wall. So ultimately, what I did is I cut this down to 4 foot. My first key slot is going to go right here at 16 inches. Second key slot will go right at 32. That way, I can be sure to get 2 fasteners into the studs and have my key slots go directly over top of them and slide right in place for maximum support. So let's head to the router table. I'll set my key slot right about center of my piece. Our key slot depth is set to 3/8. Our key slot holes will start right at the center of both of our marks we made. We'll let that stop completely, pull back, and pop it up. To attach our smaller pieces to the back, we're going to be using some wood glue and these 2.5 inch T20 framing screws. And we'll add a dab of glue. And we'll grab our speed square and just make sure we're square. And we'll repeat that process for this side. We'll add a dab of glue. We'll line up the top of our piece with that mark right here on the edge. Take our square. Make sure we're nice and square. And install that last screw. Now what we're going to do is measure the distance in between, and we'll cut our 2.5 inch rips to that number. So we're going to measure 3.5 from butting the backer, and then pulling down from the top of this piece, we'll measure out 2.5. We'll take our square and come across at our 3.5 inch mark. And then we'll set our square here and scribe just lightly our 2.5 mark. And that is where our piece will sit on both sides of this shoe rack. Now for our bottom piece, we'll take and scribe that intersection point all the way down our board, and we'll pull across that intersecting line 6 inches. We'll square this down, and we'll square this over, and that is where our bottom piece will sit. I'm going to transfer these layouts to our next side over here, and I'm going to glue these in, and we'll install them with 1 screw on each piece through the sides. I'm just going to send the screw through this inside all the way to the outside, just until it pokes through the other side. That way I know where my screw needs to enter from the outside. I'm going to stand this up for a second, add some glue, and we'll add some glue to this other side. install this screw first. And we'll come over here and get this one installed. And now we'll do the same method for our next one. Add a dab of glue. All right, we'll let this glue dry so we don't have any spinning action going on, because they will spin. So let that glue dry completely. I'll meet you back here and show you how this works once it's dry. Now, in order to get the layout transferred for our key slots to the wall, we'll just take some blue tape and just go right over our key slot holes, making sure we're the same distance from the top here. Put a little bit of pressure where your key slots are, and you'll start to see the indentation of your key slot hole. And just take a pencil or a Sharpie or marker and just circle that hole. Do the same thing on this one. What you'll do is take this piece of tape to your wall, find your first stud, make sure that your keyhole is center of your first stud, and stick it to your wall, and this will be where your second stud is. Now, what to do with these screw holes? Well, I've got a great solution for that. So meet me over at the miter box and I'll show you. So what we're going to do is take our cutoffs from our 1.5 inch pieces and cut 4 of them at 1 inch. And basically, we're just going to eyeball these because they don't have to be perfect. It'll kind of keep it with the rustic theme. So we'll add a dab of glue. We're going to use a little dab of CA glue to act as a temporary clamp. Just kind of stand over your piece to where you can see that it lines up. Make sure your piece is square. Hit it with some activator. Hold pressure on that for about 10 seconds. We'll take our other piece and add a dab of glue. And just eyeball for square. Make sure you like it. Hit it with some activator. And we'll do this on all 4 screws. I'm going to get these last 2 installed and I'll meet you back here. How about that for a boot rack? This particular one is going to go on my front porch because I absolutely love this one. I'll build an extra 4 for me and the wife for our closet. Now, if you wanted to switch this up, you could make it bigger, smaller, make it several levels even. I'm going to be doing a bunch of different prototypes with this one, and I may even switch up this square stock with the 1.5 inch dowel on a few of them. I'm going to get to building and build these out of some hardwoods like cherry, maple, walnut, maybe even mix it up with different species. I'm going to be using one of these as a prototype at my local markets, demonstrating how to hang it, demonstrating how to put the shoes on it. It's really cool, and I think it could do really well at the local markets and online. I'll wind up selling the hardwood ones that I build for about 185 bucks, depending on the size, but I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of profit this can bring in. As far as the one that I built, I just built it out of simple pine it costs about $8 worth of material. When you get into the hardwoods, probably around $20 worth of material. This definitely has the potential to bring in some major profit. If you want to help support the channel and the content, consider becoming a member. There's 3 levels. I'll leave a link in the description. Go check it out. Until next time, get in your shop and make some sawdust.